What if, when you woke up tomorrow, every single drop of ocean water on Earth had vanished into thin air? No tide, no waves, no shimmering horizon, just endless empty basins where the seas used to be. This would not be a gradual climate change type event. We're talking about all 1.35 billion cubic kilometers of ocean water gone in one night, leaving the planet's surface looking like a giant wrinkled fruit. At first, the air itself would feel wrong. You'd step outside and notice that breathing was suddenly unpleasant. That's because oceans cover 71% of Earth's surface, and they're responsible for producing roughly half of the oxygen in our atmosphere, thanks to tiny phytoplankton. Without them, oxygen levels would start to drop almost immediately, and within weeks, you'd notice headaches, dizziness, and exhaustion. And speaking of the atmosphere, without the moderating effect of vast bodies of water absorbing and releasing heat, temperatures would start swinging wildly. Oceans are Earth's giant thermal batteries, smoothing out the extremes between night and day, summer and winter. Without them, coastal cities would suddenly be as temperature volatile as deserts, and deserts would become even more unbearable. The ocean basins themselves would not be dry playgrounds for long. All that exposed rock and sand would release enormous amounts of dust into the air. Within days, giant dust storms would sweep across continents, reducing visibility to almost nothing and choking the skies in a perpetual tan haze. And then there's the weather problem. No oceans means no evaporation from oceans. That's where most of our atmospheric water vapor comes from. Without it, the global water cycle collapses. Rain would become rare to non-existent in most places. Rivers would dry out, crops would fail, and forests would wither. Some inland lakes might hang on for a bit, but without rainfall to replenish them, they too would shrink and vanish. But before all of that could fully unfold, there's the immediate effect on wildlife. Millions of marine species, from the largest whales to the smallest plankton, would die instantly, stranded on dry seabeds or cooked in the rising heat. Coastal birds and animals that depend on the sea would vanish soon after. Even humans wouldn't last long without adapting quickly. Fishing industries would disappear overnight. Entire nations built around the ocean, think Japan, the Maldives, or small Pacific islands, would face instant transcendental restrictions as inquired insane was dying, and the global economy would convulse and food shortages would hit within weeks. And here's a weird twist. Removing the oceans would also change Earth's rotation slightly. The distribution of mass would shift, altering the planet's moment of inertia. Days might become a fraction of a second shorter, not that anyone would care while they were busy trying to find drinking water. Without the ocean's weight pressing down on tectonic plates, the crust might start to flex and rebound. That could trigger earthquakes in unexpected places, along with volcanic eruptions, as magma found new paths to the surface. And speaking of volcanoes, without water to cool them, underwater volcanic vents would be left exposed, spewing steam, ash, and toxic gases directly into the air. Ironically, one of the few sources of water vapor left in the atmosphere would be volcanic emissions. If you somehow survived the heat, the dust, and the total collapse of the food chain, you'd still have to deal with radiation. Oceans act as a massive shield against solar and cosmic radiation, and without them, the surface would be bathed in higher doses of UV and other rays. Sunscreen wouldn't cut it anymore. Over the course of months to years, Earth would start to resemble Mars, not in color, but in dryness. Vast salt flats would gleam where the Pacific once stretched. The mid-Atlantic ridge would be a jagged mountain range cutting through the emptiness. And the Mariana Trench? Just a deep dark scar in the ground, perhaps home to pools of toxic brine trapped in the shadows. Eventually, without oceans, Earth would lose one of the key factors that makes it habitable. The remaining life would huddle near dwindling freshwater sources, clinging on until even those disappeared. And at night, you'd look up at the stars, brighter than you've ever seen them, because there would be no moisture in the air to scatter their light, and wonder how long it would be before Earth stopped looking like home entirely. In short, if the oceans vanished overnight, you wouldn't be booking beach vacations. You'd be figuring out how to survive on a planet that suddenly forgot how to sustain life.